TikTok took the world by surprise and revolutionized the social media landscape a couple of years ago. Do you have an account? Are you up to date with what's going on in the platform, or do you simply want to start advertising? If this is your case, here are some things you should know about TikTok. This is Miguel from Singlot, and welcome to Coffee Break Tips, the show where you learn something new about marketing in the time it takes you to drink a cup of coffee. In this episode, we're going to be focusing on TikTok, which has been the biggest revolution in the social media landscape for years. TikTok was released in 2014 under the name Musical.ly, and in 2017 it was acquired by ByteDance, and then it was turned into TikTok. However, it wasn't until the pandemic in 2019 that TikTok exploded for real. All of a sudden, we could not go out of our houses, and we were even more glued to our screens. It not only revolutionized the way we consume social media, but it also challenged the major companies that were operating in a really big way. Its impact is not only visible and noticeable in raw numbers, and we'll talk about that in a minute, but also in the way it has altered the landscape that was already suffering from stagnation. You can check out the video we made called Innovation Killed Social Media to learn more about that. TikTok is a very popular app these days. The monthly user count exceeds the 1 billion mark, and it doesn't stop growing. However, there is a metric other platforms wish to have: user retention. On average, a TikTok user spends around 50 minutes a day on the app, opening it 8 times a day. In and of itself, that is a great thing for TikTok, but the cherry on top is something that we have almost forgotten, which is customer engagement. As a relatively young platform, TikTok is still predominantly an app where the users engage a lot with the content. Some macro influencers have reported engagement rates up to 17%, as opposed to 4%, for instance, on Instagram. So now that we have a bit of a basis about what TikTok is, let's focus on some of the things that make it very unique from all the other platforms. Quick disclaimer though, I'm gonna be mixing things that happen on TikTok both organically, but also in the advertising side of things. Stay tuned for a more in-depth video about how to advertise on TikTok. So subscribe and hit the bell. The first thing you need to understand about TikTok is called contextual content. Gone are the days where your feed shows you content that you may have curated, but also things that it thinks you might be interested in. TikTok has the opposite idea in mind, and it uses a contextual content, which is an algorithmic way of showing you things that the system thinks you may be interested in. Even Mark Zuckerberg commented on a CNBC article how TikTok and its arrival had actually caught them off guard. He commented that in today's day and age, people use their feeds to discover compelling content as opposed to content that maybe they expect from family and friends. If you have logged in on TikTok recently, you may have had that experience that everything you see around TikTok is just people doing silly dances, right? Well, that is a reality because that's what the algorithm pushes for. And the algorithm doesn't push for silly dances, if you want to call it that way, because it likes it. It's just because people react really well to it. Take, for instance, Norway's police official TikTok account. You will see a mix of goofy videos with a bit more serious videos in which they directly dialogue with their audience. What the police in Norway understand is that by pleasing the algorithm, they will create engagement and they will create the basis so that people actually tune in with what they want to do. And at that point is when they actually come up with messages that are really useful and really serious, if you want to call it that way. The second thing you need to understand about TikTok is that it's very fast-paced. Things happen very fast on TikTok. If you're out of the platform for a while and you go back in, you will realize how the trends, the different things that happen in the platform have changed from when you were using it before. You have to be on top of things and be aware of the trends because that's what the algorithm really pushes for. This happens because users on the app consume content in a very specific manner. Open the app, scroll through some videos, get that sweet dopamine hit, and go back about your day. Remember that 1/3 of the user base on TikTok is in their early 20s. So typically that means they have a lower attention span, so that's something to take into account, of course. Since the trends on TikTok are a bit shorter than, say, in other platforms, that means that the barrier for entry and creating your viral hit are a bit lower. However, this induces a way of consuming and of using the app that really focuses on the quantity and not the quality at times. The more content you make, the higher chances you have to making something really viral. That's why when something becomes viral, you will see the same types of videos popping up all over the place. The third and final thing that we want to focus on is the fact that TikTok is very effective high in the funnel. Advertising on TikTok can be really useful, especially because engagement rates are so high. This is great as an advertiser, of course. And if you add to the mix the fact that TikTok is still pretty cheap is even better. There are a lot of similarities between TikTok and Snapchat when it comes to advertising. We are preparing a video that talks about the similarities and differences between those platforms, so stay tuned for that. Snapchat was pretty cheap in the beginning, and when it gained a bit of traction, it became a bit more expensive. So remember, as an advertiser, you want to start advertising on TikTok today because it's still relatively cheap. As we said before, the biggest strength that TikTok has when it comes to advertising it's very efficient, especially high in the funnel. If you don't know what a funnel or conversion funnel is, it's essentially, you can imagine literally a funnel, and the higher the customer is in the funnel, the less likely they are to become a paying customer. Your task as an advertiser or as a brand is to try to get that customer down the funnel where you will potentially convert this customer into a paying customer. If you read TikTok's case studies, you will realize that they put a lot of effort into metrics, for instance, that are very, very relevant, especially high in the funnel. They will focus on things like followers gain, video views, maybe clicks, things like that that tell you a bit more about what the customer is doing when they are not even considering purchasing from you, but maybe they want to see a video. Imagine an average TikTok user. They are sitting in the sofa and they're killing some time just by scrolling. And at that point, you impact them with one of your watches. The likelihood from this person from seeing the ad to becoming a customer, a paying customer, is very low. However, you've already impacted that person in the beginning of the customer journey. Maybe at one point that person will go on Instagram and they will check the profile you have and see what good you're doing there. Maybe from that point on, they will go to the website and see some of the products. Maybe they will select one product and really be liking it. And maybe from that point, they will go to YouTube to see a review. Once they are convinced, they will go back to your website and maybe purchase. So TikTok in this case did not make a conversion, did not generate a conversion. However, it affected the user because by showing the ad at that specific moment, maybe that person started thinking, oh, you know what? I think I need a new watch. Understanding that customer's intent is really key to have a successful strategy in your social media campaigns. And that's it for this one, guys. We hope you really found this episode interesting. Check out the other videos we have in our channel. We have over 50 now, if you want to learn more about marketing. Please remember to like, comment, and share, and subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for watching, and see you next time. Bye-bye. Want to learn more about TikTok? You can now book a free consultation with one of us by commenting below.